Okay, so imagine this. London, draped in its usual gloomy gray. You know, the kind of day that makes you want to curl up with a cuppa and a good book. But behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace, it was anything but cozy. The whole place was buzzing with a tension you could practically taste, thicker than the fog rolling in off the Thames. The big news, the news that had everyone's knickers in a twist, was King Charles's health. We all knew he was battling cancer, but whispers had started circulating, nasty little rumors about it spreading, metastasizing. The palace, of course, was tight-lipped, but the silence only fueled the fire, and naturally, with the king's health hanging in the balance, all eyes were on Prince William. He was stepping up, taking on more responsibilities, looking every inch the future king, calm, composed, a reassuring presence in a time of uncertainty. The public loved it, seeing him as a steady hand on the tiller. But what they didn't see, what was brewing behind the scenes, was a royal rumble of epic proportions. And at the heart of it all, Queen Camilla. Now, Camilla's always been a bit of a controversial figure, hasn't she? Stepping into the shoes of the beloved Diana was never going to be easy, and she's always had to fight for her place. But this was a whole new level. Word started leaking out. Carefully, of course, because you know how the palace guards its secrets, that Camilla was being accused of orchestrating a smear campaign against William, a plot to undermine his reputation, to make him look unfit to rule. Can you imagine the audacity? And the kicker? Apparently, the evidence was explosive. Audio recordings supposedly leaked by none other than Camilla's ex-husband, Andrew Parker Bowles. Andrew Parker Bowles. Talk about a blast from the past. He's always been a bit of a shadowy figure, hasn't he? A reminder of the complicated history between Charles, Camilla, and Diana, and now he was back, potentially holding the key to the whole scandal. The palace was in lockdown. An emergency meeting of the Royal Council was called, a midnight summit with Charles, William, and all the top advisors, to review the evidence, to decide Camilla's fate. The atmosphere must have been electric. All those centuries of tradition, all that power and privilege hanging in the balance. Outside the palace walls, the nation held its breath. What would the verdict be? Was Camilla really capable of such a Machiavellian scheme? And if so, what would it mean for the monarchy? And poor William, caught in the middle of it all. His father battling a terrible illness, the weight of the crown on his shoulders, and now this. Betrayal from someone who was supposed to be family. It must have felt like a dagger to the heart. But William, ever the stoic, wasn't about to let it break him. He was ready to fight back, to defend his honor and his future. The stage was set for a showdown, a battle for the very soul of the British monarchy, and I, for one, was dying to know how it would all play out. The recordings, they were the key. Imagine the scene. The royal council gathered in that hushed room, the air thick with unspoken accusations. Then, the scratchy playback of Camilla's voice, cold and calculating, laying bare the plot to tarnish William's image. It was like a bomb going off, the audacity of it all, using those two freelance journalists, James and Sophia, like pawns in her twisted game, sending Sophia to Northern Ireland all smiles and subtle flirtations to create just enough evidence for a scandal, and James lurking in the shadows, ready to snap the incriminating photos. It was a meticulously crafted plan designed to exploit the public's fascination with royal gossip. Then there was Tom, Camilla's son, dragged into the mess, unknowingly or not, by connecting his mother with those shady journalists. You have to wonder what he thought, watching his mother risk everything for power. Family loyalties are tricky, especially when the stakes are this high. But the real gut punch had to be the forged medical report. That was a low blow, even by royal standards, bribing the palace doctor, the man who was supposed to be caring for the king, to fabricate evidence of William's mental instability. It was a betrayal of trust on so many levels. Camilla appearing all concerned and sympathetic, playing the grieving wife worried about her stepson's health. It was a performance worthy of an Oscar, a masterclass in manipulation. And the public, bless their hearts, lapped it up. The headlines screamed about William's supposed breakdown, the TV pundits dissected his every move, and the social media trolls went into overdrive. But William, to his credit, didn't crumble. He saw through the smoke and mirrors, recognized the venomous hand behind it all. He knew he couldn't let Camilla win. His response was classic William. Calm, measured, and utterly devastated, he requested an independent medical examination, publicly declaring his fitness to serve. It was a mic drop moment. The independent report, of course, cleared him completely. The public outrage was immediate and intense. They'd been played, manipulated by a queen consort desperate to cling to power. And they weren't happy about it. That's when Andrew Parker Bowles stepped back into the spotlight. He presented the full recording from the Chelsea Cafe, the one where Camilla laid out her plan in chilling detail. It was the final nail in the coffin. You have to feel for Andrew in a way. He clearly still carried a torch for Camilla, despite everything. Hearing her voice plotting and scheming must have been heartbreaking, but he did the right thing, exposing her treachery for the good of the monarchy. It was a selfless act, a testament to his sense of duty. The emergency meeting of the Royal Council that night must have been something else. The accusations, the denials, the weight of centuries of tradition bearing down on them all. And Camilla, finally unmasked, her carefully constructed facade crumbling around her. King Charles, heartbroken and betrayed, had to make the hardest decision of his reign, to strip his wife of her power, to exile her from the inner circle of the monarchy. It was a painful but necessary act, a demonstration that no one, not even the Queen, is above the law. And William standing tall amidst the wreckage, ready to lead the monarchy into a new era. He'd faced adversity, betrayal, and public scrutiny, but he'd emerged stronger, more determined than ever. The future of the monarchy rested on his shoulders, and he was ready to bear the weight. So, the verdict was in. Camila, stripped of her power, banished to a remote residence, her reputation in tatters. It was a swift and brutal fall from grace, a Shakespearean tragedy playing out in real time. You could almost hear the echoes of Lady Macbeth in her desperate ambition. The designated residence, they called it. More like a gilded cage, a sprawling estate in the countryside, far from the prying eyes of the press and the whispers of the palace. Imagine her there, surrounded by luxury but utterly alone, the silence broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant bleating of sheep, a far cry from the glittering banquets and hushed corridors of Buckingham Palace. The Royal Medical Board, of course, launched a full investigation into the forged medical report. The doctor, facing disgrace and potential criminal charges, spilled everything. He confessed to the bribery, the pressure from Camilla, the fear for his career. It was a messy affair, exposing the dark underbelly of the royal machine. James and Sophia, the freelance journalists, were banned from all royal events, their careers effectively ruined. They'd gambled on a quick payday, a chance to make a name for themselves, and ended up paying the ultimate price, a cautionary tale about the dangers of chasing fame and fortune at any cost. Meanwhile, William, ever the pragmatist, focused on the future. He knew the monarchy had been shaken, its image tarnished, but he was determined to rebuild trust, to restore faith in the institution. He embarked on a series of public appearances, connecting with ordinary people, listening to their concerns, showing them that he was one of them. He visited hospitals, schools, and community centers, offering words of comfort and support. He spoke about the importance of unity, of compassion, of service. He was a beacon of hope in a time of uncertainty, a symbol of stability in a world of change. Catherine, as always, was by his side, a source of strength and inspiration. Her warmth and grace charmed the public, her genuine compassion touched their hearts. Together, they were a formidable team, a modern royal couple for a modern age. And Charles, he retreated from public life, his health failing, his spirit broken. The betrayal by Camilla had taken a heavy toll, leaving him weak and vulnerable. He spent his days in quiet contemplation, reflecting on his life, his reign, his legacy. He reached out to William, offering his guidance and support, preparing him for the challenges ahead. He knew his time was short, but he was confident that William was ready to take the reins. The monarchy was in good hands. In the end, Camilla's plot had backfired spectacularly. It had exposed her own flaws, strengthened William's resolve, and solidified the monarchy's future. It was a painful lesson, but one that had to be learned. The skies over London, once heavy and gray, began to clear. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a golden glow on the ancient streets. A new era was dawning, an era of hope, of renewal, of resilience. The monarchy, battered but not broken, stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. And William, the future king, stood ready to lead the way. The scandal faded into memory, a cautionary tale of ambition and betrayal, a reminder that power comes with responsibility and that loyalty is the most valuable currency of all.